Diaspora remittances into Kenya grew to $143 million in April 2016, with real estate being one of the fastest growing sectors in Kenya at the moment. I spoke to Gideon Ngure, Division Manager at Property Development Management Kenya, on how Kenyans living abroad can tap into the local real estate market. Take a look. Let's start with, of course, what we are seeing in the real estate market in Kenya and in East Africa. Return on investment is good. That's why so many people are getting into it. But from a diaspora perspective, Kenyans outside wanting to invest back here, what are some of the trends that we're seeing?
I must start by saying that the industry is really vibrant. If you look at Nairobi, for instance, I think it's one of the key markets in Africa. It's second to South Africa. Nairobi has really picked up because of a lot of factors. Some of them, we can see a lot of investment in infrastructure. We can see deliberate steps by the government to make real estate investment as viable as possible, to try and make business investing in Kenya to be more convenient for investors.
How's the appetite for diaspora investments, especially for Kenyans living abroad wishing to invest back home?
It's a fact that there has been a lot of interest in real estate from the diaspora, especially Kenyans who are in the diaspora. I think for them it could be a sentimental thing. Everyone wants to come back home. Everyone wants to have something back at home. We can see that over the years remittances from the diaspora have continued to grow, and a lot of the remittances are being pumped into real estate, whether formally or informally, whether one wants to really milk the market or one wants to just have a retirement home when they come back. But a lot of that is coming into the market, and the appetite has continued to grow, especially with the market continuing to be, the way the market has continued to be promising. We have people actually who are venturing into real estate as an investment. So the appetite is there, and it will continue to grow in the long term.
We've seen local real estate companies, form diaspora offices, and also we're seeing also Kenyans in the diaspora, getting together and forming savings and credit unions. Help us understand the trends in terms of the models of financing that are coming up.
I think people have been forced to be very creative in terms of how they get their financing from. You've just mentioned that indeed mortgages appear to be inaccessible to most, and this has made people become very innovative in how they'll seek financing for their ventures. We've seen people who've acquired financing offshore and managed to bring it back into Kenya and invest it. We've seen people who've come into unions, as you mentioned. They've teamed up together, gone into partnerships, and they're even going a step further and partnering with local landowners to invest in real estate projects. And also, I think for those home buyers in the diasporas, what they've been able to tap into what sort of hybrid of products that developers have been coming up with. For instance, people have been offering longer payment terms, people have been offering off-plan purchases so that you're able to spread your payments over time. And this is sort of to mitigate the inaccessibility of mortgages. And
what are the solutions in the market, looking at A to Z solutions? Because I believe that people living abroad may not have much access to information as the investors in Kenya.
One of the gaps that we can see in the market, and we as PDM are really tapping into, is the lack of credible investment partners and investment advisors. A lot of people are coming up with companies haphazardly to try and interest diaspora people to invest in Kenya. But the lack of credibility is a worrying trend. You've seen that because of the lack of trust, even people have tried to invest through relatives, and that as well has not been very successful. So companies like ourselves, which have been established for very long periods and have the necessary expertise and the professionalism and the transparency that they need, have been able to open up for the diaspora to invest in Kenya. And I think the key thing that they need as investors is credible information that is backed by facts, Secondly, they need a partner who can walk them through the entire real estate cycle, and that is what we do here as Gideon.
Looking at the outflow of real estate investments, are Kenyans here willing to invest outside?
Kenyans in general are an entrepreneur, we are entrepreneur driven, we are entrepreneurs naturally, and we are always seeking investment opportunities. We are actively seeking investment opportunities outside the country. We have seen Kenyans go not only regionally, but people have gone overseas to invest, and it's all driven by the returns that they're promised. Other people have invested, I mean, we know of people who have invested in Dubai, people who have invested in cities like London, and this is purely driven by the appetite for diversification of portfolios.
But how are these projects being packaged? Because I would assume just an average Kenyan or maybe someone who's well-to-do will not just go to Dubai and buy property. What's the packaging that is coming in?
Basically, they're just looking at free cash flows from these investments, in the sense that they're not investing to be actively involved in the investment, the day-to-day operations of these properties. The products are packaged end-to-end, in the sense that the developer approaches them with a product and they promise them certain returns, and they offer to manage the investment for them. So in the end, they just access these properties once, twice or thrice a year, or they have relatives who can access the properties, and basically for them it's just the returns that drives them to invest in these properties.
Mm-hmm. Top 3 real estate markets outside Kenya that are quite attractive for Kenyans here?
I think we've seen people going into Dubai. We've seen a lot of interests in London. The third one could be a tie among several, but I think the top 2 are definitely London and Dubai.